Hey guys, welcome back to the middle tier. I've classified 5 teams in the middle tier. The top team is That Damn Serb, our newcomer taking over Mike's slot. He got very, very lucky in the draft, being able to pick up Michael Turner in the 3rd round because the German dropped him. So he got a top 10 player in the 3rd round. So that's definitely going to help him, and that really jumped him up the scale right there. He also has Matt Schaub at quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback. I don't see him falling any lower. I don't see him really rising any higher just because the quarterback's above him, but you can definitely see 160-plus points guaranteed, put it up on the board. He's got Andre Johnson to throw to. He's going to be solid the whole time. His other running back is Sean Green. Sean Green out of the New York Jets. It's going to be his first year as the feature back in New York. He does have LaDainian Tomlinson there, who is going to be a touchdown stealer, carry. He's going to be taking a lot of carries away from him. And he's going to be in there as a 3rd down back because of his hands. So I don't see Sean Green as a top 15 running back. If I'm wrong, and he's in the top 15, top 10, that's going to put the Serb in the playoffs. If he's not, he could definitely see himself down in the bottom of the league. At the flex spot, he's got Hines Ward. Hines Ward is a great pick 5 years ago. He's no longer what he was. He's a possession receiver. He doesn't have that speed anymore. He's going to get you 5, 6, 7, and if you're lucky, 10 points per game. And when I mean 10 points per game, I mean maybe once in a while he'll give you 10 points. In his number 1 and number 2 receiver slot, he's got Ocho Cinco, and he's got Brandon Marshall. 2 solid receivers, 1 definitely stud in Brandon Marshall. We'll see how Chad Henne throws to him. At tight end is a big mistake also. He's got Greg Olsen. Everybody thinks in the Mike Martz offense they're going to throw a lot. Vernon Davis, when in the Mike Martz offense, had to stay in and block the whole time. Mike Martz likes to keep the tight end in, so I don't see a lot of points. Olsen was a top 10 tight end last year. I definitely see a lot more tight ends that are going to be scoring over Olsen, so I don't see anything but the 5 points a game for him. Defense, kicker don't matter. He went with definitely like a young feel on his bench. He's got Jeremy Maclin, Matt Ryan, Darren McFadden, which I definitely think he's going to disappear by week 4. Braylon Edwards out of the Jets. Not a great pick, but where he got him in the draft, excellent value. Edwards is probably going to be in his flex spot by week 2, if he doesn't move him in there by week 1. Leon Washington out of Seattle. We don't know how Seattle's going to use Leon Washington, so towards the middle of the year is where we're going to know more if Leon Washington's going to be good or bad for his team. Next in the middle tier, we have actually a surprise to me. Last year's kicker taker, and Robbie Gould, Team Dirschfall, which was actually year 1's champion, I think had an excellent draft to go along with his keepers. Quarterback, he's got the number 1 quarterback in the fantasy quarterback in the league, in Aaron Rodgers. Whether Aaron Rodgers is number 1 this year is beyond me. Obviously, Manning or Brees could be number 1, but I don't see Rodgers' productivity dropping any. I'm still seeing, 18, 19, 20 points a game, and that could carry pretty much any team. In the running back slots, he's got Matt Forte and Noshan Moreno. Noshan Moreno, I don't like Noshan Moreno because Denver uses a platoon backfield. So you're only looking at about like 200, maybe 220 carries per year, and I don't think that's going to get it done. If Moreno was the definite feature back, I would love him. We'll see if he turns that way in the season, and that's going to be a really big flex point in Dirschfall's year. Matt Forte, his value went way down last year. He had a terrible sophomore year. This year, though, with Mike Martz's offense, on the flip side of what I said about Greg Olsen, with that damn serve, Matt Forte should really jump up in fantasy value this year because of Mike Martz offense. He loves to throw to the back out of the backfield. He also, because of the throwing all the time, Matt Forte is really going to be able to. He's going to be getting a lot of draws, a lot of open lanes because of it. The bad part is the Bears' offensive line is very lax and is not going to be opening up a lot of holes. So we'll see how that works out. And also the addition of Chester Taylor from the Vikings is going to take a lot of carries, or at the very least, going to be taking away third down opportunities from him. We all know that Forte can catch the ball out of the backfield. But with Chester Taylor, and that's what he's brought in for, we'll see how that pans out and see how many touches that Chester Taylor takes away from him. At receiver, Reggie Wayne in Indianapolis. I think he's a great pick to get you to the playoffs. But while you're in the fantasy playoffs, I think Reggie Wayne is a bust, mainly because the Colts are going to be in the top of the league. They're probably not going to be playing for anything the last 2-3 weeks. And what good is Reggie Wayne then? But maybe he can take him, trade him off to another team as a keeper for next year. We'll see how that pans out for him. The reason why he's also in the middle tier is his second receiver, Deshaun Jackson, the flyer out of Philly. We don't know how Philly's offense is going to change a lot this year with Kolb at receiver. And Deshaun Jackson, he is very, very dependent on the touchdown, and the long touchdown at that. So we're going to see how that pans out. I don't see him. He was the number 2 fantasy receiver this year. I see him teetering around the 10 area, around 8, 9, or 10. Jermichael Finley out of Green Bay, the tight end. Any player that you can get from Green Bay on the offensive side of the ball, I think is going to be a giant positive, just because they love to throw that ball around. And tight end is so deep. I think Jermichael Finley is going to be in the top 10 tight ends this year. It's going to give him about 7 to 8 points a game. Defense, kickers don't matter. Now, Michael Bush out of Oakland. I don't think Oakland right now realizes who they have yet, and they keep trying Darren McFadden. I think Michael Bush by week 4 is going to be the starter in Oakland. I think he's going to have a great year. I think actually Michael Bush is going to be in the top 25 running backs this year, even with that late start as a starter. So look for Dershfall to actually add a lot of points towards the end of the year with Michael Bush in his lineup. He's kind of a little thin on the rest of his bench. Lee Evans, Chad Henne. We'll see how he does with Brandon Marshall, like I said, but I still don't think he's a great quarterback, even as a backup. But what does it matter? He has Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be playing Aaron Rodgers every single game except the one bye week. Fred Jackson out of Buffalo with his injuries and with Marshawn Lynch and the emergence of C.J. Spiller, I don't see him doing too much either this year. He does have Devin. I know Bear fans are going to be mad at me. I can't pronounce his name, Devin Arashmanu. I think it's actually a great pickup. He's not my favorite receiver out of the Bears. I definitely think Johnny Knox is going to be the number 1 receiver out of Chicago. But watch out for Devin to be good for a spot starter, maybe a flex. I forgot that he also had Michael Crabtree in his flex. I would have loved to pick him up for my team. I can't put 3 players on one team, one football team on my fantasy team. That's just how it is. But Crabtree had a giant year last year when he was actually in. I shouldn't have said giant. He had a good year, good efficient year, and as a flex spot for Dershfall, I definitely think he's solid. So with his receivers, with Crabtree, Wayne, Jackson, it's probably one of, if not the 3 best receivers core in the league. So that should help him. And then obviously Aaron Rodgers is keeping him in question of being a top tier. But I definitely think the players in Moreno, Deshaun Jackson, I think is going to be going way downhill. And the question marks about Matt Forte, I would make him middle tier. So we'll see how that works out. But I definitely see Dershfall in the playoffs, barring injury. And, well, we'll see. We're out of time on this one, so I'm going to hit you back with the final 3 middle tier teams. See if you're one of them. I don't think you are.